Hello everybody, Tyrone the God 3 here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Showdown. Today we'll be having a match between me versus Joven Calixto. I'm sorry if I botched your name there. I actually found out something pretty interesting, and I should have seen this earlier. So call me an idiot in the comment section if you want to. I actually figured out on Pokemon Showdown when you're watching the replays, there's actually an option to slow it down. So there's actually an option to make the replay vids much slower so that when I record them, I can actually physically do more to commentate on what's going on rather than having to play catch up and speak at freaking auctioneer speed when I'm showing you all what's going on. So that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. It makes the videos last a little bit longer now, so they're 10 minutes instead of the casual 8 minutes that they used to be. So yeah, that's an extra 2 minutes on, but I don't think you guys will mind that too much considering the fact that these are some pretty good battles. Now in this battle, I actually use Beheem and I switch out with the nasty plot. I bring out Muck, and because I know the sunlight's out, so Victory Bell is going to basically use up that solar beam, and it sees that there's a life orb on that Victory Bell. Victory Bell goes ahead and uses Weather Ball, but that kills off the Victory Bell. I did that because I knew Muck would take up most of the shots. I end up using Curse so that I can get Muck's physical attack and defense up, but then the Zapdos comes out and wrecks Muck shit with the Thunderbolt. So after that ends up happening, the sunlight fades and Kricketune out here, and I really don't like Kricketune ever in battle. So it didn't do that well. It used U-turn to get out of dodge, and then Regice came out, and I used the Toxic. The plan was to Toxic up the Regice so that it won't cause me much problems. I didn't know Regice was going to come out, but the Toxic does come out and hit Regice, but then Kricketune ends up getting hit with a Thunderbolt. I will say I am pretty impressed by Kricketune's defense. I don't know if Kricketune is fully bug or bug/flying. You'll have to put that in the comment section below. I use a taunt just to bide out some time because this Kricketune had a really weird move set, and it looked like Toxic and Taunt were basically its only real benefits. I do end up using a knockoff to get the leftovers out so Regice won't keep gaining health over and over and over. And the Toxic then takes its place over there. I have Noivern out here. Noivern's probably going to end up getting hit by an Ice-type move and dying, but I do end up using that time to use the Boom Burst. The Ice Beam takes out Noivern, and Regice ends up getting hit with the Taunt. With the Toxic. So then I end up getting Primate out here, and Primate finishes it all up with Earthquake. In retrospect, I probably should have used Primate instead, and then brought out Noivern much later. But then I end up using Close Combat on Zapdos, and it does a crit. Unfortunately, it's not enough to take Zapdos out because it's a flying type. And then I end up getting hit with the Hidden Power. Unfortunately, this looks like it's the end for Primate, but he does switch out. And Primate ends up busting into Close Combat again. I try to use another Close Combat to take out Shuckle, but it looks like my options are pretty much nearing. At this point, I only have 2 Pokemon left. And I try to get Shuckle in with an Encore, but it fails. I end up getting hit with the Infestation. I knew it would be pretty pointless to try to use another Close Combat, especially with it lowering my defense like that. So Primate's out. Beheem's the only one left, and he's got half his health, and he still has 4 Pokemon left. So I end up using Psychic, and I try to live it out as much as I can because I know there's not many options left for me here. But I want to keep fighting until the fight is over, so I end up using Psychic. That takes out him. That leaves him with about 3 more Pokemon left. I know my Psychic attack won't work on Drapion, so it's basically over in that battle. So yeah, I ended up losing that one, but Joven was a really good competitor, so it was great to have a match with him, so I thought it was worth recording. So yeah, that was a pretty good match. Also, on a side note, I'm going back on Pokemon Showdown vids for now, and we'll get back to Pokemon Blue Let's Plays later on. I'm fighting off against awesome Pokemon, by the way. Anyway, we'll be going back to the Pokemon Blue commentaries just as soon as I can get everybody together and we can commentate on more parts again. Plus, I gotta fix a slight problem that happened. Anyway, Muck uses Gunk Shot on my White Kyurem, and I heal a little bit with the leftovers. Now, as you can see, White Kyurem is pretty powerful, but its level's at 73, while most of the Pokemon I'm fighting are at level 83 to compensate for that, to put him in the same league. Politoed comes out here with the Drizzle. I decided to go ahead and switch out. I bust out the Breloom. He uses Encore, but it fails because all I did was switch out, and I switched out at the right time. The Perish Song comes in. Now, this Perish Song was annoying, so I decided to use the Sword Dance to bide out some time. So, when the Perish Song comes in, I decided to go ahead and eat up that Skull because I know it's not going to do a lot of damage. The Bullet Seed takes out Politoed. A Swords Dance the Bullet Seed Breloom is going to be enough to take out a lot of opponents for real. And it's pretty cool that Breloom also has the leftovers in hand. So I'm able to take out a lot of Pokemon here with the Bullet Seed thanks to that power-up, although Breloom's time is limited, unfortunately, thanks to the Parasol. But I didn't want Breloom to lose that physical attack boost specifically because of the Swords Dance that it was given. So I used this chance to give Breloom all the chances to power up that he can, which is good because I know at this point Breloom gets knocked out by the Parasol, but it was enough to bring Mega Scizor down to his knees. I use Air Slash on the Mega Scizor, and Mega Scizor combats that back with Roost. So I decided to go ahead and take the advantage of this. I knew the Bullet Punch wouldn't do a lot of damage to a Mantine, so I decided to use the Scald. The idea was to burn Scizor so its physical attack would go down when it's burned, but that didn't happen. So I end up just using Scald again, and it's enough to take out the Mega Scizor because Mega Scizor doesn't have that many options on a Mantine. Hoopa comes out, but it's in its cute form and not its unreleased form, so it ends up using Trick to switch out the Choice Scarf with the leftovers. I figure at this point there is really no point in doing much else, so I just bust out the Toxic and I switch Mantine out. Dustox, unfortunately, was the most useless here because it ends up getting hit by a Psychic and immediately dying. So yeah, that ends up happening, but it did buy a little bit of time for Hoopa to end up getting hit with the poison. So I take out the White Kyurem yet again, and White Kyurem's job is basically to just bide out some time until the Toxic can take effect and knock the Hoopa out, but I do try to bide out some time with the Draco Meteor. It's clear that I have leftovers, so I can outlast this Hoopa long enough to knock it out with the Ice Beam. So Hoopa's out. There's only one Pokemon left that Awesome Pokemon has left, and she decides to use the Landorus. And Landorus does have the Intimidate. I figure at this point I can just use Ice Beam and knock Landorus out because the special defenses aren't that good, and this is a White Kyurem. So that battle is over. And finally we have the third match. And Pokemon Showdown, it's against Gustavo SLN. You all remember that I did a part with him last part in Pokemon Showdown, so I decided to battle him again because he asked for a rematch. I used Gallade, and Gallade ends up busting out the Intimidate on Crocodile. No, Crocodile ends up using the Intimidate on me. I use Gallade and Mega Evolve him, and I take that advantage to use the Drain Punch. It's not going to do much to Noivern, unfortunately, so I decided to switch him out with Steelix. Steelix's job here is strictly to lay down Toxics and Stealth Rocks, so I use that to my advantage. He uses Air Slash and Boom Burst, but Steelix is Steel and Rock, so those aren't going to do a lot of damage on him. I use this opportunity to bust out some Stealth Rocks, and while I'm still here, I might as well bust out some Toxics before Steelix ends up getting knocked out. So Noivern ends up using as many attacks as he can just to whittle Steelix's health down. Fortunately, I was able to switch out at that point and use in Lantern. Lantern's got an air balloon, but it's not going to do much good. The Toxic is going to slowly sap away at Noivern's health, plus his special attack took quite a fall because of the Draco Meteor that he used before. The Draco Meteor ends up missing. I'm not sure how that happened, but thankfully the Hydro Pump ends up getting a crit, so that was a very lucky day and a lucky Lantern. Liloon comes out, and Liloon uses Seed Bomb on Lantern, and it does quite a bit, but I still have just enough defense in order to hold out to use the Thunder Wave, and thanks to the Stealth Rocks being out there, Liloon takes some hits, and then he uses Seed Bomb to weaken Lantern even more. I use this advantage to use Volt Switch to bring out Mega Gallade again, because I know Mega Gallade has more than enough to take out a Liloon. He ends up getting hit by the Shadow Claw. I know the Drain Punch will sap away at all that health and bring it right back up, because Liloon is weak against fighting types. The Basculin comes out here, takes hits from the Stealth Rock. I use knockoffs to knock off the Choice Band, so he's no longer Choice. So he's going to try to use Crunch on me because I'm part Psychic, but I'm also part Fighting. He also takes his advantage to use Aqua Jet, so I actually was giving him a favor there by knocking off his Choice, or else he would have Choice locked into one of the attacks. I use Drain Punch, however, and that gives me more health back and knocks out the Basculin. Escadrille's out here, and I take this advantage to use a Sword Dance because I know I have more than enough strength to hold out that attack. Then I can use the Drain Punch plus a Sword Dance. I get all that health back and knock out the Escadrille in one beautiful hit. So I know there's only two Pokemon left. There's a Machamp and a Crocodile. I figure at this point I use Drain Punch on the Machamp. The Machamp probably has no guard, so he's probably going to knock me out with a Dynamic Punch. But I end up getting confused, and I hate getting confused in fights because I usually end up hitting myself. So that does end up happening. I end up hitting myself, and Machamp takes the advantage and is able to use Ice Punch. Thankfully, I try to do it another attack, but I think I end up hitting myself. But the Bullet Punch comes in and knocks Gallade out, unfortunately. I still got 3 Pokemon, so I'm not too worried about things. So I just decided to use Fearow, because I know Fearow has the type advantage and the speed to outspeed Machamp and knock him out with the Drill Peck. Crocodile's the only thing that's left here, and I know that Crocodile knows a rock-type move that should take him out, so I'm just using this chance to whittle down Crocodile's health. And there it is. It's the Stone Edge. The Stone Edge does its damage, and because of that, I try to use Drill Peck again to buy it out some time. I end up getting hit with the knockoff, and Fiero is out. I know I still have about 4 Pokemon left, so I'm not too worried. I use Keldeo, and Keldeo wipes things up with the Scald. So with that said, I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the Guy 3 out. Look forward to more Pokemon Showdown videos as they come. See you all then, everybody.